Well, hello and welcome to another Tyrrell's Classic Workshop. And I've been invited by Hampson Auctions to review some of the cars that are coming up in their sale this Sunday, so a couple of days' time. I've sort of gravitated towards this one first of all because yes, they are, to be blunt about it, quite crudely engineered, and they were quite ubiquitous at the time, but I still love Corvettes. I think for me this shape is the favourite. Okay, the split window early cars, the Corvette 2, the C2 are the iconic one, but for me a C3 convertible like this is where it's at. This is a factory manual car, which makes a big difference. It's got the standard 327 engine, 5.4 litre, anywhere between 300 and 350 brake horsepower, depending on which side of bed you got out of. But I just love this car. This is its original colour. It was restored in the States. It was in a dry car from new in Florida, and it was brought over here in 2017, and it's no reserve. So it'll be sold from the first bid. The engine is completely stock, which is actually quite unusual these days. You can buy, their cylinder heads and inlet manifold as standard are made of cast iron, thin wall cast iron, which Detroit had mastered by this time. So they're not crazily heavy, but you can buy either Edelbrock or Offenhauser bolt-on alloy replacement cylinder heads and inlet manifold, maybe a Holley downdraft carburetor instead of the standard Rochester or Carter, and it does give the cars an uplift in power. Not that it needs it, but there is the opportunity, if you wanted to buy this car and breathe on it a bit, to give it a bit more oomph, then it's able to do so. Even the exhaust manifolds could be altered for some headers instead of the original cast iron ones, make it sound a bit more fruity as well. It's good to see the ignition system is well shrouded on it. You've got that great big cover over the distributor at the back of the engine with the wing nuts on it, and then the HT leads, so you've got all the high tension sparks, 30 kilovolts thereabouts in that cap, and then they go down the side of the engine and along underneath the exhaust manifolds. And that is first of all for heat shielding, to stop the HT leads melting so near the exhaust, but it's also for radio suppression. I'm just about old enough to remember when I was sat in the lounge with my mum and dad, and you'd have a car with poorly suppressed ignition pull up at the traffic lights outside, and the TV would start going because the ignition was actually interfering with the TV reception in the house. So Chevrolet took great pains to make sure that none of that happened, and that's why they are heavily earthed and shielded and suppressed, the ignition systems, and it's good to see it still has it. But altogether, a nice car this actually. I would be very happy to have to arduously drive this around for the summer. Great car, Corvette, yours from the first bid. Well, following the success in the last sale of the blue Pantera, the one that was had a minor cameo role in Breaking Bad, the popular TV series, we've got another one consigned. This is a Pantera L, which is identifiable by the chrome around the windows and the more sort of stock Cleveland V8, the 351 cubic inch. And about 5.6 litre, something like that. The GTS Pantera had a slightly more highly tuned engine, black window surrounds, and decals along the side, not dissimilar to this, but these are a lovely looking car. Tom Charder designed. Interesting, a lot of people these days are going for these, they look like original standard wheels, but they're actually larger diameter. They're a sort of replica of the original designer wheel, and I absolutely love the designer wheel on the Pantera, the standard design. It's a real killer design, and this car is again at no reserve, so it's up for grabs, whatever. A lot of car for the money. The chassis, of course, was engineered by Gianpaolo Dallara. You can't get better credentials than that. And yeah, so there we go, yours from the first bid. Well, here's another interesting curio. I never thought I'd see the day. This is me showing my age now. A McLaren MP4-12C is in a classic car auction. I mean, this is 13 years old, 13 years old, but it's still immaculate. It's got a beautiful specification. It's done 15,000 miles from new. It's got the lovely two-tone interior, the carbon pack, which was a desirable extra, and the car is absolutely immaculate. It's a lot of car for 60 to 70,000, plus the premium, whatever that works out at, depending on the bid. But this is a 200 mile an hour plus car. It's still an eyeful. It looks absolutely beautiful. I'm always impressed when I drive these at how smooth the ride is. So many cars of this ilk can be very firm on the suspension, even the likes of Sportline Mercs or whatever the Audi equivalent is. I can't just remember what they call it, but they're very firm on the road, particularly on the British road surfaces. But these have a habit of the attribute of handling beautifully, but also having a particularly smooth ride. And for that reason, I think they make a very good grand touring car. So yeah, a lot of car for the money. Would you be able to buy an equivalent Ferrari for the same money? I don't think so. McLaren MP4-12C, 15,000 miles from new, 13 years old, still immaculate, all its life left in it. 60 to 70,000 pounds. We now know that fast Fords have become a thing. And some of the Sierra Cosworth RS500s, things like that, are now fetching low mileage, genuine cars in unusual colours, are fetching huge sums of money comparatively. But one of the cars, the Lotus Cortina, I suppose started it. But following that, the Escort was incredibly successful in rallying and competition, and as well as being a very utility-focused everyday car. But once people started to breathe on them, they really did come into their own. And a very nice Mark I Escort is a thing to behold. This is a lovely example. It's had a fortune lavished on it. The bodywork's been completely redone. The whole car has had a huge restoration. The owner intended to rally it when it was finished, but they got carried away with themselves so much that by the time the car was finished, they couldn't bring themselves to rally it because it would stone chip all this beautiful paintwork, etc., etc. This car has won lots of awards, best of shows, concours, things like that, and with good reason. It's a punchy number. It's 60 to 70,000 hammer, but bear in mind that the likes of the RS 1600 and the other sort of absolute top of the range Mark I Escorts are now well into seven figures, actually. And this is, I mean, this takes me back because in the 1980s I had several customers with Mark I Escort rally cars, and they used to have the RS, the BDA engine in them, which is half a Cosworth DFV V8 Formula One engine essentially. And I used to tune those, and they had the sintered bronze clutches, which were very noisy and very difficult to use. They had a very fierce biting point, but they were carrying over 200 brake horsepower. This has got the Kent engine, which is more manageable for road use, still with two lovely side draft twin choke Weber carburetors, 40 DCOEs. But the way, one of the things about Mark I Escorts that is a real tell for me as to how well they've been restored is the panel gaps, the door gaps, because they're quite often pretty iffy, actually. By the time you've put replacement panels on them and one thing or another. But this, the alignment is very good. And just the way it opens and closes is absolutely delightful. This is an immaculate Mark I Escort. Make no mistake. So yeah, yours for 60 to 70,000 pounds plus buyer's premium. Well, we did actually cover this car 2 or 3 weeks ago on a previous video. This is an Eleanor edition gone in 60 seconds Mustang. It is a stunning car. You can see all about it in the video. Unsurprisingly, they've already had strong interest in this car, and it's almost sold pre-sale on consignment bids already. So I think this is going to sell, really. They're pretty confident that they're going to get this over the line. But obviously, it's not too late to sign up and be interested in this car, because it is, having driven it firsthand, it goes every bit as well as it looks. Yeah, so there it is, an Eleanor Replica Mustang. Well, this is another car that I actually really like. It's the Opel Monza GSE, or it's an Opel Monza GSE, and there are apparently only 11 of them left registered on British roads. And this has done a credible 30-odd thousand miles from new, 36,000 I think, and it's just in lovely condition. It's got the factory fitted sunroof, it's got this very 1970s, 80s velour interior, which is absolutely immaculate. It's got the 3-litre fuel injected cam-in head straight six engine, which was a real beaut. This car's rivals when it was new was the BMW 6 Series, the Mercedes coupes, the 123, the 124, but and it's a manual as well, so this will be a credibly quick car, probably 130 mile an hour car. But it's the fuel injected 3-litre engine, as I say. But it's so sharp, this car. It's in such good condition. I've seen 2-year-old cars in worse condition than this. So it's a tribute to the people who've owned it, and it's up for grabs at no reserve. Again, how much this is going to sell for is really anybody's guess. But this is a car that I've really sort of developed a soft spot for, just walking around it and looking at it. And I used to work on these regularly. They are really good driver's cars, that lovely power steering, perfect weighting. It puts modern electric power steering to shame in terms of feel and road, knowing what's going on in terms of grip and road holding and things like that. Just a very, very pleasant car to drive. And how much is it going to sell for? We don't know, but yeah, very nice. Opel Monza 3-litre GSE. Well, here we have a bit of a curio. This is an E21, the original 3 Series BMW, and they were very, very good cars. These cars sort of shook the world up when they arrived. They very quickly gave the Capri a run for its money, for example. Probably not comparable in price, but the prize in the E21 model range for some years was this car, the 323i. And it had a little firecracker of a 2.3 litre injection straight six engine with that standard BMW valve gear, that single overhead cam engine. But it was as sweet as a nut. It was said by motoring journalists of the time to be the smoothest 6-cylinder engine in the world. And actually, I would not contest that. Why am I drawn to this car? Well, first of all, it's very unusual because it's a 323i. But secondly, a friend and myself, a friend had one of these new in 1982. It was ruby red metallic with beige cloth. And we did a tour of the southern UK in this car, and it was just great. It had a factory sunroof, it had the Alpina ribbed alloy wheels, it had the sports steering wheel with the 3 spokes. It was laden with extras. It was a 5-speed manual, same as this, but it was a great car. It was really good fun. And I secretly have a hankering to own one of these in immaculate condition, because it was just, we had the Eagles Hotel California blasting around the stereo, in a cassette, of course. It was just great. So memories, classic cars are made of memories, and memories are made of classic cars. But that's why this, which is not as bad as it looks, is a very good prospect for a full restoration of a 323i E21 BMW. And the other thing is that they had one of these in the last sale. Incredible though it sounds, they had a 323i not dissimilar to this in condition in the last sale, and it did really well. It sold for strong money, and you think to yourself, how can they possibly afford to buy that and do it up and be on the right side of the money situation? But I guess people do it out of passion. And this is going to be the same, I suspect. It went for, I was expecting it to go for next to nothing, but it didn't. It went for I think 7, 8, 9,000 pounds, something like that, before you even start taking this car apart and restoring it. But I think it's going to generate quite a lot of interest because they are unusual. They're a little firecracker of a car, bags of fun as a classic car, and yeah, they're very rare. So yeah, BMW 323i E21, great car. Well, if Americana is your thing, particularly big Americana, this is the box ticker for you. This is a Peterbilt 379, and I've been so impressed with this vehicle, I've dedicated a video to it, which is coming up on Sunday. So the video will air just after the sale, so we don't know whether this truck is going to sell or not, and for how much. It's estimated at 60 to 70,000 pounds. If you have the space and the finances for a toy like this, it's pretty unbeatable, really. You can drive it unbelievably on a 7.5 ton normal car driving license if you passed your test before 1996. And as I say, I've done a video on it which will go out approximately 3 hours after this vehicle has been over the auction block. But yeah, Peterbilt 379, absolutely fantastic. Well, that concludes another Tyrrell Classic Workshop video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll be back with something else very soon.